Recall,
Yo,
recall, recall.
recall. You blabbed, Quaid. You
You
blabbed
blabbed
about Mars.
you blabbed
What
about
up,
Mark.
y'all?
What's going on,
What's
guys? Welcome to
goody?
another episode of Save the
Save the
Date.
date.
One of your hosts, Heath.
What's good, all? I'm sorry. Hold on. Oh, okay, I couldn't hear myself for a second. What's good, everybody? This is Jamie. And before we get started, if this is your first time to the channel or hearing us, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And we are Save the Date now on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, SoundCloud.
Yep.
If you want to check us
Apple.
Apple Podcasts, yes. Save the date
Guys,
now.
Yeah.
Please become part of our cipher. We would love to hear from y'all. Stories you want to send in, all of that. You can send it to our DMs, wherever you can
Yeah.
find us.
We welcome it and thank you for the interaction and the trust.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a moment of silence because we are at the cusp of something big. We're entering a new era of Save the Date, and that new era is togetherness.
Body.
We are going to be promoting, emphasizing, highlighting, elevating, and flag waving togetherness. Because what Jay and I ultimately really realized is that when we look at our story of friendship for almost close to 20 years, our story of triumphs, our stories of mountain peaks and low valleys, one constant golden thread has been togetherness that we have emphasized and talked about at length in our private conversations and now with you guys about the importance of being together. And that when we talk about taking Save the Date further down this road of success, further down this road of healing, further down this road of community, we realized we needed a rallying cry, a banner that we could wave, a galvanizing message that we can speak about, espouse, and dialogue about. And for us, that is togetherness.
Yeah.
Men and women are meant to be together.
And
what
intentional union.
Yeah. What is togetherness? To us, it's just an intentional union of individuals, two individuals who are looking to build a life that's aligned along goals, principles, and values, and defining that union according to terms that governs and determines success for them.
That's important.
Yes. And there's a lot of meat and information in there. We're going to be unpacking it over the weeks, as well as making some other pivots along this togetherness story to ensure that we're not only reaching out to you via the channels that we've established, Jay just so eloquently mentioned, but through other mediums that we're now starting to bubble and cook. More about that as we go along over the next couple of months, and we'll be talking at length about those. But everything we intend to do, speaking of being intentional, is about emphasizing this message. And all of the future podcasts and opportunities and even events that we present to you are going to be flowing from this message, this story of togetherness. Because what we have arrived at after almost doing this for 4 years, and we have been in the doldrums, we have been in the back streets, the alleyways of the podcast landscape, but specifically the dating podcast landscape, the sex podcast landscape, is you have so many different characters and voices and messages, but a lot of what we keep seeing are messages that divide and messages that are leaving people torn between their values and their vision, torn between what their heart longs for and what their head is warning them about, torn between what their friends say and what their heart's telling them to do. Torn between the ravages, I would say torn between the pages or the channels of social media that will advise you to stand clear and stay away, and the pages that will ask you to take a risk and do more. And what we're saying is it's important for us to be together. It's okay. It's okay to want to be with someone and to grow, have and build a life with someone, to experience unparalleled, loving growth within yourself and with another person for a lifetime. We are advocating that we be together, that we dwell together, that we thrive together, that we learn together, that we cry together, that we're patient together, that we're silent together, that we're loud together, that we struggle together, that we excel together, that togetherness is the cornerstone to your building of success. And this comes from a place of deep experience and pain. For those who don't know our story, I have been in a long-term relationship for about 17 years. I'm married. And Jay, I'll let Jay tell you his status.
I'm single as a $1 bill. What are we talking about out here?
Well, Meaning, but you've also been divorced.
I mean, to me, divorce was an action. I got divorced in
Yes.
2016,
Yep.
and I have been trying to work on myself, I guess, a little bit since then, figuring out ways that I could be better, show up better for a partner if I ever am blessed to have that again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But that's
I'm
where our story comes from, and you'll hear more about our story because we have a lot to tell you there. A lot of pain, a lot of pain. And I'm saying this to you not to start grieving right now on our podcast or to disrupt the atmosphere with our story or our narratives, but to tell you that when we talk about togetherness, this is coming from a deep level experience of growth and breakthrough, of pain and resolution, of overcoming and suffering.
Yeah, I was gonna say that about a lot of those other podcasts too. It just in that space, there's a lot of naming and calling out of problems, but not a lot of resolution and moving forward. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're efforting to do that too.
Yeah, that we want to see a brand new horizon. We want to see a new era, a new age, and it's possible as we begin to educate ourselves about the structure and design of social media and that it's designed to send you into outrage or to get you addicted to outrage porn, that is designed to give you an ad that to give you a post that makes you feel good, then a post that makes you feel angry, and then here we go, right now after the post that makes you feel angry, here comes an ad. Try it sometimes. I did it. Once I learned this method, they put an outrage ad, then they put an ad. They put an outrage post, then they put an ad. And to realize that we're being had and that there is a greater opportunity here for us, for those of us who want to be together. That is still a viable, real reality and a reality where you can thrive.
That
When you're,
sounds kind of novel in today's
yeah,
day and age.
yeah. Because now we're putting marriage behind a paywall. As Scott Galloway says, we're making marriage a luxury item. If you can't pay my bills, pay my automobiles, then we can't chill.
Hmm.
If you can't give me the greatest neck I've ever had and you can't bend over and
Yeah,
flex,
you're not busting it open for me.
if you're not cooking for me, you ain't busting it open for me, then
I
I
can't
don't
open
want
my
you.
heart to you. Yeah.
And we're saying that to connect is the ultimate directive of the human being. Socrates says man is social by nature. And Bell Hooks, another great critical thinker, talked about the importance and viability of love, because love is at the center of it all. So for those of us who still yearn for love, who still yearn for a life to live and thrive and grow, we're saying we can do it all. We can do it together.
And via togetherness. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's about togetherness, being together, being connected. And we're going to continue to expound upon this definition, expound upon this work, build out, if that's the main river, build out the tributaries that lead you to new and novel lands. But we're holding space for this right now. The gravity of this work is being felt by us because this is not just a slogan or a brand message we're pushing to you. This is a life that Jay and I have lived and continue to live. We just didn't call it togetherness because we didn't have a name for it. When we started this podcast, it was about Jay and I having a platform to talk about sex and sexual ecstasy because our sex energy is through the roof. But as we continue to do this podcast and spend time on TikTok, Instagram, coming out of the tail end of the pandemic, coming into post-pandemic life, a new life, we started seeing people are really sitting in the ravages in the wastelands of modern dating. And this is a real experience that either one of us has gone through because Jay's been single, I have not been, but our friends are going through. And because we're serious about this work, we've also tapped in, whether through social media or through connecting with others, how real and how much people are longing for togetherness, to not be categorized, labeled, pigeonholed, relegated to the status of bum if they can't pay for a $500 date, relegated or sent to the pits of Tartarus because they can't cook a meal or they're too masculine when they should be more feminine. There is something for everybody here and there's someone for everyone, and we're going to do it together because togetherness is real. We're pushing a new story about your life and our life. We're doing this with you. We did a podcast a couple of weeks ago about frustration. We go through it too. Getting annoyed with the conversations, done with the outlandish labeling and behavior we see coming from many different content creators or individuals who may not even fit into the creator umbrella, but they just have a phone and a camera and a ring light, and now they got an opinion that they believe everybody in the world should hear because they want to build up a following. This is real life here. As I'm talking, you hear my wife in the background because her father's in the hospital, and I'm doing a podcast in my crib because this is life. This ain't something made up or a construction of my mind or an experience I'm trying to give y'all. This is real life because for each other, talking about in my relationship situation, we have to be there for each other. We have to be together, and it's hard, super, super hard, super hard.
Yeah, especially if you don't have a framework for that togetherness or a story for it. You know, a lot of us, I think, to your point, are trying to build the plane while we fly it.
Hmm.
And obviously, we know it's very hard to do that. You know, if we had a manual for how things are supposed to go and what we're supposed to do, it might be a little easier, but nobody has a successful love and marriage manual, at least not one that they can circulate and give to people.
Yeah,
You know, they might
one
have
size
one in
fits
their
all.
head or
Yeah.
right. Yeah. There's nothing prescriptive about love and relationships. A lot of it is subjective, a lot of it is experiential, a lot of it is learning on the fly. But if you don't take what you do learn on the fly and learn to apply it going forward, you could find yourself in situations again and again, getting more and more frustrated and resentment builds. Like we know what happens in that scenario. We know what happens. So we are efforting to give people at least some meat to chew on around togetherness using our own stories and hopefully, you know, reacting to some of the things that are just kind of in pop culture and
Yeah.
online and in social media. As we use those tools, we just hope that people are open-minded and hear into hearing this because we know that the frustration is real. And when you're frustrated, sometimes it is very hard to put your intellect cap on, your logic cap on. You're so, you know, inundated with the emotion of anger or frustration or whatever that is, you don't want to hear a solution. You just want to be in your feelings and you want to, and there needs to be time for that. And I think when you are angry, when you are frustrated, one of the things you can do, as we talk about for togetherness, is have a timeout in place. You know, while we're talking about solutions, when you feel anger or something bubbling up, hey, listen, this is 101. I need a second. I need to go take a beat. I need to go take a walk. Do you want to take a walk with me? We can walk in silence, whatever it is, but you're creating a moment of togetherness to deal with the feelings that you're feeling and the frustration. So, you know, as you're saying, Heath, we just hope people are open minded. We hope that there's a lot of people who are going to latch on to this because it is a new era. We're coming out of, like you said, post pandemic life. People are getting reacclimated back to being outside. And there's a lot of people who, like you said, are seeking and searching for togetherness.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we want to help them. We still, like you said, we still believe that it's a viable system for love, for success. And we want to see a lot of people
Hmm.
experience that. And not just for a couple of months or for a couple of weeks, or for a lifetime,
Hmm.
if that's possible for them, if they're called to that.
Hmm.
And if they're willing to put in the work.
Yeah. Putting in the work is going to be
Talk to them.
the bedrock, the foundation of the house in which togetherness will be built.
Facts.
Work is going to be required of you. One of the concepts that we talk about in the togetherness story, and we'll be talking larger about a framework as we move on in the next couple of months, is ego death.
Big one.
Killing your ego. That's what when you listen to the 440 album of Jay-Z, die Jay-Z, kill Jay-Z.
444.
Yeah, 440, yeah,
Yeah,
440, yeah, 444, sorry. Die Jay-Z. You egg Solange on, knowing the whole time that you was wrong, right? Getting real.
that's real.
Ego death.
Let me ask you a quick question. When was the last time you feel like you came to the end of yourself about something?
Recently, about my relationship, for sure. About my relationship, the expectations I have, what I feel entitled to, what I see as my needs, which aren't necessarily what I feel entitled to. They overlap. Yeah, I've come to the end of myself because ultimately, when you talk about togetherness and union, sacred union, the demand or the requirement for you to serve will at times outpace your demand or requirement for fulfillment of your needs. And for many of us, because we have been seduced by the convenience of a technical society, meaning a society that is undergirded by technological progress, we've gone from fax machines to phones that help us see each other while we talk, to Dick Tracy watches where we can talk to people miles away, look at people.
Go gadget phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Got the antenna in your
Yeah,
thumb.
exactly. Yeah. To electric cars,
Yeah.
to the beginning stages of flying cars and robots and artificial intelligence. We are now in almost a bed of convenience. And the
Mm,
moment we have to move an inch to grab a remote control to change the channel of our life, we
mm.
become like inconsolable infants.
Man, that's big.
Yeah. And what happens was when you are in that bed of convenience, trying to navigate life and build a relationship with somebody, you will have to make a choice one day to get out of that bed and get going and do some work, or stay in that bed and still demand. And each action comes with a consequence. We often don't try to talk a lot about masculinity and femininity in this podcast to the extent that you hear in other podcasts. Some people have whole systems and frameworks built on masculinity and femininity. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not what our podcast is about. But it is a part of how we conceive and understand ourselves as Jay and Heath. And I'll say this to you, part of my masculinity is about service, laying my life down. And I'm not just talking about physically, but laying my life down perpetually, daily, to be the better man, to be the better person for my partner, for my family, for my child, for my community.
Even when you don't get anything in return.
Even when you don't get anything in return.
Yeah.
Again, when your requirement or demand to serve outpaces or outlasts your requirement to demand for your needs to be met. When you're at peak frustration or anger, disappointment, yet you know that the promises you gave have to be yes and amen, because you have to keep your word to be in alignment with who you say you are, especially if you take it to a spiritual level, who you say you are in God, for some of us who like to be spiritual and are spiritual.
Because that vow was for better or for worse.
That vow was for
So,
better, for worse.
and I say that because I think a lot of times people feel like if I'm not getting what I was promised, I'm justified in going outside of.
Absolutely.
Um, it's all right for me to retaliate in some kind of way.
Oh, absolutely. What does the person say? They don't even call it cheating. They just say, I didn't get my needs met. And a lot of
Legit.
us, when we hear that, whether at the workplace, in our family circle, in our friendship network, or in our homes, in our marriages, in our relationships, we easily resonate with that.
We get it.
Because, right? Well, yeah, your needs weren't getting met. Absolutely. I got this one person at my job. I got this one person at church. I got this one person in my synagogue, my masjid, my mosque. I got this one person. I got this one person. I got this one person who I share a bed with every night. So it's easy to write off your actions when you say your needs haven't been met. But what does it mean to have duty, honor, service, and an obligation, and a heart to meet that duty, that honor, that service, that obligation?
To me, that's the essence of unconditional love.
Yeah.
When you don't have circumstances on it, it's not a if then type of thing.
Yeah.
If you meet my needs, then I'll give you. It's
Yep.
not a if then.
Day one, you
It's
start
a
flowing.
despite. Yeah, it's regardless of the circumstances. This is
Yeah.
how I show up.
Day one, you start flowing. Day one,
Which
you
we
start
know
flowing.
is not easy, but
It's
that's
not easy.
essentially the calling.
That's not easy. But I was bringing that up about myself and about how I conceive of my masculinity.
Say more.
Well, because to me, I once heard it say from a friend of mine, God rest his soul, when you see a child and a child like to, maybe you should jump on your bed, or you jump on your parents' bed when you were younger, caretaker's bed. That bed, it was fun to jump on it, but you don't go that high as a kid. You just jump up, because the bed is not really made for that level of, action or movement. But when a kid jumps from the ground that's solid and sturdy, they can learn to jump higher because they're starting and jumping from a place that's solid, concrete, and is dependable and reliable. That's who you are as a man for your family. You should be the concrete. You should be the concrete ground, so they can leverage you and rely on you and depend on you to jump higher in life. Don't be the bed where they can jump a little high, but because it's unstable and not built for that level of movement, you get a little action, but you don't get the real action, the optimized result of jumping, because you're jumping on something that can't be trusted to sustain that level of movement and to optimize peak jumping
Height of the jump. Yeah.
at the height of the jump. So that's what it means to be masculine to me, is to be dependable, reliable. And to do that, you have to be consistent, even when you don't want to do it. Delayed gratification, self-sacrificing, giving, even when you don't want to give. And how does this relate to togetherness? Because we're just giving you a glimpse behind the curtain of what we mean when we're saying, what does it mean to be together? There are roles, but we would argue that you and your partner determine what those roles are. We're not going to sit here and preach leadership, male leadership and patriarchy. We're not going to sit here and preach matriarchy. We're going to sit here and tell you, you and that person are two human beings who are graced with the privilege of knowing yourselves and each other. Create the framework that works for you. Create the life that works for you. Ignore everyone else who's going to have an opinion.
Because they ain't sleeping with you at night. They
An
ain't living
opinion
in that
about
house
you.
with you.
And some of us have people who are targeting us. They don't have opinions. They're trying to target your marriage. or
It's a
yin
good
and yang.
one. Good insight.
Ignore all of it and work the program that works for you that promotes togetherness.
I got another question because it just came to me like, how do you quiet that noise when you have, like, let's say you're going through something. You talked about, your father-in-law having to
Yeah, hospital.
take care of your, yeah. I mean, like, obviously, if something like that is happening and you genuinely don't know how to show up for your partner and you solicit some external advice, like, how do you quiet all of the noise? Like, obviously, that's a specific scenario, but there are times when you're going through things and
Yeah,
you don't have it in your own mind, your own
yeah.
self-determination. Like, how do you quiet the noise?
I will say this, build up strong friendship relationships, people who are invested in your togetherness narrative and program with your partner. I have you, I have other men in my life that I can call when I'm at my wit's end. I'm at the end of my rope, whatever other catchy phrase you want to use to indicate that this is it.
I'm at the precipice about to jump.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm at the cliff. I'm at the end of the cliff. Whatever other cool phrase you could use, and have someone that could do two things for you. They can do two things. One, listen, because it's critical they listen. Two, encourage you. Now, encouragement for a lot of us thinks it's all about saying platitudes and bromides that you got it, man. You're the head, not the tail. You're above, not beneath. You're the coach. You're the leader. And those are important to be said. Those affirmations are important. But encouragement also looks like, you know what, dude, from what I can tell from what you told me, she seems like she has this issue with you being late. And I'm gonna be honest with you, son, ever since I've hung out with you avoid that issue being late. And I can imagine for her, that's a very hard thing to deal with because she's always on time and she's prompt. How would you feel if your payroll check was late tomorrow? And then reflect back to that person, the very issue that their partner is upset about, working with them on, complaining about, praying about. Because sometimes encouragement is you need to be encouraged to look at yourself.
Start with the man in the mirror.
I'm asking him to make a change. If you're gonna make a
Yeah.
change, all right, anyway.
Shemo.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, make that change. But
So the
it starts,
encouragement is for
yeah.
you to encourage you to look at yourself. So that's how I've done it. Is number one, I have friends who listen, and two, they encourage me. They encourage me to self-love, but they also encourage me to self-reflection.
That's good. Listen and encourage. That's good.
Because that's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd recommend everyone have friends who can do that because you cannot do it alone. The old African proverb, you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Mm-hmm.
Go
And
together.
sometimes sitting in silence with you or sitting in whatever you're feeling is just as encouraging too. Yeah.
Absolutely. But that's how you maintain your togetherness. And what's one of the parts of our framework we'll be discussing is about community. You can't be successful without community. You can't be successful without a bunch of counselors and consigliaries who are going to give you the best advice possible. But you have to be open to taking the advice. You have to be open to the critique. You have to be open to the self-love. You have to be open to the encouragement. You have to be open to someone else listening to you. And you're not the one in charge. You're the one who's sharing space and participating in this shared sacred space called friendship.
And that's across the board, right? Like, you can't be successful without community.
No, you can't.
Yeah. Not in finance, not in your
Not
relationships.
not in tech entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
nothing.
Nothing.
It's one of the
Yeah.
issues people have reasons with tech networks is because they're discriminatory and they ostracize people.
Mm-hmm.
People based on, they would argue on sexual orientation, a lot, racial bias, racial categories.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever really believed the narrative of the self-made millionaire because
No.
there's really no such thing.
Because there are people who definitely spend inordinate amounts of time on their business. I think the guy who started RJ Nabisco originally, I believe in the 1800s, if I remember from Barbarians at the Gate, was just like living in his factory. I know guys who built martial arts schools. They were living in the back of their schools. Those kind of like, I'm just going to keep going every day and grind. People do it with content creation. Every day a video, 0 likes, 0 views, 0 this, no virality. Me and you've gone through that. I wouldn't say we're necessarily
Yeah,
going
4
through the
years
depths
worth.
of it. Yeah, and we're still maybe not at the depths of
Yeah.
it, but we've been through it.
Mm-hmm. Failing forward, but we've been through
Failing
it.
forward,
Mhm.
failing forward. And
Yeah.
you're going to fail forward together because one of the things we're going to tell you about togetherness is this is not a life that is absent of struggle.
Mm.
And struggle isn't a negative thing,
Right.
but struggle will be a part of your narrative. It will make you stronger if you choose to make you stronger.
Learn the lessons from
Yeah.
the
I have said this before, and I've said about marriage, but I really want to make it about this togetherness piece. Still the best vehicle for you to get wealthy. Financially and in other Lee categories. Spiritually, familiarly, family, every other Lee category. physically, emotionally. Don't let the outrage porn destroy your dream to be together.
That's big. Say that one more time.
Don't let the outrage porn destroy your dream to be together.
That's gonna hit for a lot of people because I know you and I have both talked about all of the clips from all of the social media creators or spaces where people are like, I just don't understand why people are still trying to get married or people trying to be in long-term relationships. There's really no upside to it. Everybody's cheating. Everybody wants, they have these outlandish or unrealistic expectations. Guys, we understand that that's what's out there, but so
Yeah.
togetherness is still there.
Yeah,
It
it
might
still
have
is.
a lot of dirt
Mhm.
and grit and
Yes.
grime that you gotta clean
Yes.
away, but
Yes.
it's there.
It is.
It is, again, as Heath said, if you're willing to do the work to acquire and maintain it, it is there for you.
Absolutely.
And if you really want that, a lot of people are saying they do, but and I think this is okay too to say, if you don't really want to be in a long-term committed relationship, don't play with togetherness. It's not something to play with.
Because we're definitely in the age where you don't have to run a psyop mission to go to bed with somebody or to get someone to go on a date with you and treat you nice and treat you well on the date. Pay for the dinner, have a great time.
And y'all can mutually agree that doesn't have to lead to togetherness. Y'all could just go out and have a good time.
Yeah.
That's fine. But if don't play with togetherness.
Yeah. Don't dangle.
Yeah, don't stoke those flames because that's an unquenchable fire.
Well, that's the whole issue of love bombing, which I would say is one of the greater sins of modern dating. Sins being euphemistic, because really to show somebody that they are worthy of all of you and all you have to offer, only to rug pull at the most inopportune time, to me is just, there's no reason for it in the modern world because there's so many devices and mechanisms based on convenience for you to identify people who meet your needs. That's the greatest thing about the internet. There was the long tail written by Mark Anderson many years ago. We're at the second stage of the internet, Web 2.0, and he wrote this book, The Long Tail. And what he's saying is that when you look at kind of like a hockey stick, right? The bottom part of the stick, and then it goes out like this. In that is all the blockbuster hits from movies, for example, or the mainstream products. But the further you go out on the stick is all these
Fringe.
niche communities that are profitable communities.
Yeah.
Right there, I remember watching the emerging internet marketing trends in 2005 when you're out from Facebook and you had single moms who were teaching quilting tips, making $100K a year online. There was a guy, I think his website was Here and Play. He was a young black kid who taught himself how to play the organ and the piano in his church. And he was making $1 million a year selling programs and how people can learn to play music by ear. And this is pre, school software, SKOOL, or pre MOOCs, there was like just Blackboard for school, right? If you go to school, you get your Blackboard, and you have your documents and maybe a video there. This was pre all that, or around at least contemporary of Blackboard. So the mechanisms we have now and the software we have now to teach and for people to learn were not as sophisticated as they are now, and they were making money. But what did that tell people at that stage and where the internet was in 2003, 2004, 2005, to be specific? Was that these niche communities were going to be opportunities for people with the most random, eclectic mix of tastes and appetites to find their people. Or as Gary Vee would say, there's someone out there for your weird. There's
As
a weird to match your weird.
as we've said many times on here, you look at my 600-pound life,
Yeah.
everybody who's on there is usually coupled.
Yeah.
Which lets you know it's not just the skinny girls or the IG models that's getting dudes
Exactly.
or partners.
And I said all that to relate to the love bombing, that now we're in an age where you don't have to seduce at that level. So if you're seducing at that level, then I ask, what's really going on with you?
Yeah. What's the need for the Jedi mind tricks?
Yes, because we're living in the age of convenience and emergent communities. You could just find a woman or a man or a person who's willing to get down for the crown, however you need to. I mean, we saw that with the advent of Craigslist ads and people meeting for sex. Come on now.
Casual encounters.
Yeah, that was Web 1.0. Casual encounters.
Right. We even had Ashley Madison for married people who wanted to get down.
Yeah, so this is, and again, this is not to be tangential, but to show you guys what we're saying when we talk about the breadth, the depth, and the intentionality behind togetherness. We are in being so adamant because we see so many narratives that are trying to poison our minds against togetherness. So that's why we're being adamant about it, emphasizing that you have a dream to be together with someone. That dream can become a reality. That dream can become a reality. And I'll tell you right now, that dream will have problems. That dream will have struggles. That dream will be imperfect, but it'll be your dream and it will be good. Good right along those problems. Good right along those challenges. Good right along those issues. Good right along those struggles. Good, sweet tasting fruit waiting for you on the other side. It's your dream to be together with someone, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah. I would even say not even on the other side, in the midst of all of it. It's going to be happening simultaneously. You're going to have
Yeah, I
some
just mean
good
the other
and bad.
side of
I know what you mean.
my dream's not fulfilled and then
Yeah.
once it's fulfilled. But I want people to know once it's fulfilled, that's where the real work kicks in. And
After
even when
I do.
and once it kicks in, don't let the problems, the miscommunication, the broken promises, and the missteps make you feel like your dream was really a nightmare, that you were seducing yourself into a nightmare. That's not the case. It just has problems. All things have problems. It's your promised land, not paradise. Your promised land has problems. It's not paradise. You're not dead yet. And I wish you to be dead for many, 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 many decades from now. And between now and the many, many, many decades event, I hope you get in a relationship that challenges you, that you learn to live together and thrive together and grow together and create together and cry together and grieve together and live together and thrive together
And orgasm together.
and orgasm together and dwell together in togetherness.
Damn, that just sounded good. In togetherness.
Dwell together in togetherness.
That's a bar. Dwell together in son, that's a tagline. Get together in togetherness. Dwell together. Be together in togetherness. Live together in togetherness. I
That's
like
it.
that.
That's it.
I like that.
That's it.
That's a great mantra for a relationship, for people who are interested in for real pursuing a relationship. Together and togetherness. Wow. Like, it sounds so simple, but it's really profound when you think about
Yeah.
how often you don't hear of togetherness as it relates to relationships. Like,
Absolutely.
people talk about so much, or at least from what I hear, it sounds like there are a lot of individuals living with people, but it's not a lot of togetherness.
Mm.
You know, my needs weren't met, or
Mm.
this person's doing that, but it's not a lot of, we, not a lot of we.
Yes.
It's either I or they, them, but it's not a
Them,
lot of
him, he,
we.
she, yeah. But it's not us together. It's not us intentionally moving through life together.
Yeah. Moving through this issue together.
Yes.
Getting through
This problem
this
together.
problem together. Getting
Overcoming
over.
together.
Yeah. Cause sometimes it's getting through a problem together. Like, you cheated, but I know I want to fulfill this vow of staying with you forever. And I know that I need to forgive you, but I'm not bringing my forgiving energy to this. I'm not bringing any togetherness into the situation. I'm just holding on to my feelings and how I feel. I'm only validating my experience in this. And this is what I was talking about, the circumstantial approach that a lot of people have. Like, if you don't cheat on me, I can do this. If you show up this way, I will do this. If you don't hurt my feelings or break my heart, then I'll show up this way. And it's, to me, that's the antithesis of unconditional love. And a lot of us say we want unconditional love, but we have conditions for giving ours out. So, yeah.
And also, what does unconditional love mean for you two? Because in your togetherness, you'll define what that means. You'll define boundaries. You'll define, what does it mean for me to accept, to radically accept, and what does it mean to say, I can't anymore? And those terms are your terms. Understanding two things. One, it's okay to have boundaries and terms and things that you're uncomfortable with, or you encounter or experience discomfort. But two, when you do experience discomfort, you still have an opportunity, not saying an obligation, an opportunity to say, I experienced discomfort. This is a violation of our terms of the agreement, but I've made a choice now to look at the opportunity, explore the opportunity of getting past this together, moving past this together, loving past this together, healing through this together, as long as you're willing to be together. That's an opportunity. It's not an obligation for some people, but it is an opportunity. And you'll have to make that choice once you encounter that particular issue or set of issues that cross your boundaries, violate the terms of your agreement. This is why we're against giving you the tried and true plan of how couples really should be.
Yeah, prescriptions.
The man should be doing this, and the woman should be doing that, and neither should the twain ever meet. The moment a man picks up a pair of underwear to do laundry, he's lost it. The moment she goes to pay for a dinner, for a date, After 15 years of marriage, she's lost it. And all these platitudes and principles, we're not giving that to you. What we're going to say to you is, you're with this person, you're exploring love and togetherness together. No pun intended. And it's up to you to determine what the terms of the agreement are. Recognizing that broken promises are going to happen. That won't violate the agreement, but broken promises are going to happen. But in some cases, there will be a violation of the agreement.
Hold space for that because it's coming.
There could be. And some people don't. Some people have relations where they don't violate the agreement. They have other kind of problems. And that's fine. You know what I mean? They may have other kinds of issues, but they don't have an issue with the person violating the agreement. But there's people who say, this is my boundary, please don't cross it. 5-10 years in, someone crosses it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, at that point, you may ask why. Did it something I did? Is it something that happened? Is it something that it just became too crippling for you and you did it? And all I'm saying is, you don't have an obligation, but you have an opportunity to say, this happened. I didn't like it. You violated my boundary, but I see this as an opportunity to be together. So as long as you're willing to be together, let's be together.
In togetherness.
In togetherness.
And on that note,
thank you guys for allowing us to pull back the curtain and to give you, as I once heard on Yo MTV Raps, a small smidgen of the flavor, small smidgen of what we're working towards now as a podcast. We're still going to talk about content. We're still going to talk about relevant topics, but we're going to be having a major thrust of conversations around togetherness and around some of the opportunities that are emerging for us to discuss and share with you this framework and other ideas and assets that we've created for you. So until next time, this has been Save the Date. I'm Heath.
I'm Jamie, y'all.
Take care.
Peace.